Batman number 22, Joshua Williamson writing. Obviously, we had that news like last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't know. It was very recent.
Last week. Last week.
Joshua Williamson writing, David Finch, not David Finch, David Fabok. Why does he say Finch? Why did I write down Finch? That's.
And also, he said David Fincher. It's a completely wrong medium. This issue made it clear that everyone knows here that I really love Jeff Johns. Like, he's one of my favorite writers of all time. Mm-hmm. I feel like Williamson is officially the heir apparent to Jeff Johns, because the fact he was entrusted to clear up parts of Flashpoint, I think that's kind of all the evidence I need. He was trusted with Flash, who we all know is like Johns' favorite character, and handpicked by Johns. So the fact he was able to jump from Flash to Batman, take over for King, and make a really solid issue. I mean, I'm tipping my hand a bit, but damn, that dude can write.
Yeah, so Matt liked it. That's obviously we ended up last issue with Flash and Batman landing in Flashpoint world, and we start with sort of Thomas Wayne from Flashpoint's perspective of what's going on. Apparently, this world's kept going, and the war has become so severe that they eventually agreed that they're one true enemy, and they teamed up to take on Batman because he's causing too much trouble for them.
It's Wonder Woman and Aquaman, which I think is a very... I can't remember the end of Flashpoint. Were they on the same side by the end there?
Oh no, they were still fighting. They were basically
still fighting.
They were destroying the planet basically by the end of it, but they're fighting.
Yeah, so they've come together to so Batman's a menace and needs to be taken out. So I thought that was interesting. I wonder how much time. I wonder if the time thing matters here, or if it's only been a couple months.
I don't know.
As far as Thomas is concerned.
I think
it seems to have only been a couple of months as far as our characters are concerned. So
I think more than a couple. If I was to guess, I'd say it's like, I don't know, 6, something like that.
Yeah. But it's definitely. I'm sure in the last few issues, maybe it was even this one, someone mentioned a matter of months. So it's. I don't think the New 52 even lasted a full year.
Yeah.
So it's probably been about the same sort of time in the.
If only, am I right?
I know. It was 5 years, and it felt 5 years. Jesus. All right, so obviously Bruce and Thomas are like, oh crap, this can't be real. What's happening? And then obviously the army show up and Flash. I need to rebuild the cosmic treadmill, and obviously it's the Flash, so that's actually something they can do quite quickly. So Batman and Batman fight side by side, and obviously the small moment I think everyone's going to enjoy is when Thomas goes for his gun and Bruce batarangs it out of his hand because no.
Yeah,
you listening to me? And they talk about when he fell in the cave because that's a memory they both have because it was before the shooting and therefore presumably the first 8 years of his life are the same in this world.
Yeah.
Or however old he was when his parents got shot, and. So we have that, and that's basically most of it. Obviously, there's the big thing at the end, which teases the finale, but most of the issue is they're fighting off this army, Flash rebuilds the treadmill, and Bruce is leaving with Barry, and he's asking Thomas to come with him, and Thomas is like, no, this is my place, and he asks Bruce to give up being the Batman. Let the Batman die with him, I don't want you to be this. And he does this thing where he runs off into the blinding white light that's destroying the very, very in Manhattan as the buildings are disintegrating and all that, and Thomas Wayne runs off into this white light. And obviously, I don't think for a second that Bruce is going to give up being the Batman. I think maybe he'll have some weird doubts based on this interaction. Maybe it'll put a wrench in his thoughts. I definitely
think he's going to change the way he goes about things. I definitely think this is going to be the end of the My Poor Parents Bruce, and I think we're going to get a more Morrison-esque, I'm a superhero, I'm here to make the world a better place, more than...
I think a big part of it as well is what he even brings up to him. He's like, oh, by the way, you're a grandfather, I have a son. I think becoming the father rather than the child who lost his parents might be a big part of it.
I think that actually fits in the overall narrative of King's Run. Obviously, the whole thing with him talking to his mother, and that kind of really closed off at the end of the last bit. He kind of got that almost closure. So this here, the more literal closure with his father.
Yeah. So I think obviously maybe the realization, if he does have some doubts for a bit, is that his Batman is not the same as his Batman. Like, his Batman is this almost beacon of hope for a lot of people. It's not this vengeful, violent monster that Thomas thinks of it as, that he has become.
Right.
So I think that's interesting. Obviously, some great panels in there where they both put on their kills at the same time and they're like standing side by side, and
I love as they're doing this. Barry's in the background reassembling the cosmic treadmill, in super speed. Like, nice touches from Fabak there.
Yeah. My favorite stuff art wise probably is the city being like disintegrated and then like Thomas running into it. Like, I just really love that stuff. I think it just visually stands out because it is like the white sort of like bleeding in and like things are going away, and it makes whatever's still left be so stark and like stick out against it. But it's not just like let's have a quick easy background because it's just white. It's like it's got a important meaning because nothing's there. That's the point.
Yeah, and obviously we were questioning last week what actually happened with the Flashpoint world. Like, did it carry on? And this has pretty much answered that now. We got that, and I think now this is over now.
Yeah, it seems whoever is controlling things, presumably in Manhattan at this point, has kept it around just long enough for this interaction.
Yeah.
And is disintegrating it now.
Because Barry points out that they're on the same vibrational frequency. They're not on an alternate timeline that is their timeline. So now you start to get to that timey-wimey stuff again.
Well, it's not their timeline, it's their Earth. Just to get
it's their Earth.
The phrasing right.
Yeah. So everything, and that's what I have a hard time wrapping my brain around, right? Because of that whole, it wasn't an alternate reality, it wasn't an alternate Earth, like it was all their time had broken.
I think with this issue and the last one as well, when they were going through the treadmill for the first time and we've seen all the different eras of Justice Leagues and whatnot, I think what's really set to me is that the timeline right now is super sensitive. And obviously what's just happened with Superman has also affected things and how people have like remembered him. Clearly things are in flux, and I feel like by the time we get to the end of this Rebirth story, there might be like a cementing of what the current reality is. Like when we finish everything up, like, okay, right, things are set in place now for however long until the next big event in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hyper Time from Zero Hour in the 90s.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And so if there was only a time-traveling hero that is in the time stream, I wonder if he'll have anything to do.
I don't know. I mean,
Flash is in the time stream at the end of this issue.
Yeah, I'm just talking about in the grand scheme. Not that it has to do with the button, but if you're talking about solidifying, takes of realities and whatnot, that's my boy Booster Gold's thing. So I'm wondering if his absence is another Manhattan machination.
It may be. I can see it.
It could be, yeah. Like, no, I'm not having you messing about. You stay over here.
Yeah.
What if
you fix this? I'm trying to break.
Yeah, and it also ties into why Mixie was scared of him and why he was hiding.
Yeah.
Because Manhattan didn't want him, or Oz didn't want him faffing around with things and timey-wimey nonsense. So obviously the ending is they go on the treadmill again as the world's collapsing and they go back out of the time stream. And who runs up behind them but Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, and timey-wimey nonsense is in full flux because this is actually before he dies, because he's still got the button in his hand and he's like, oh, I know who owns this and they've never faced someone like me, and that's obviously the cliffhanger as we leave off to the final part, which is not next week, damn it.
Of course, bro. Yeah.
Because it's been delayed a week. Obviously, that was great. We liked Fabok in the first Batman issue of this, and it was great here again. I have nothing really to add about the art, just other than what I said about the white stuff. But yeah, that's good. It's really good.
And it just shows how versatile he is, because obviously last time he was playing through the 9-panel grid, whereas this was much more traditional. Yeah. And it just shows that he can do anything, really. Yeah,
also the last one was very Batman focused, where this was as well to an extent, but it definitely had more flashy things going on because running through the time stream and cities disintegrating. There was a lot more big sort of ideas and comic booky, whereas the last one was a really almost simple, relatively speaking, fight.
It was just a fight.
Yeah, sure, one of them's a speedster, but still, still a fight. So no, Batman 22 was solid. I'm looking forward to seeing what revelations or what we get coming out of this last issue in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy because I feel like we've got one issue left, and I don't think it's progressed that far, really.
No, I think what it's really done, at least so far, is it's solidified to Batman and Flash. Right, someone's messing with things.
Yeah, and I don't know how much detail they're going to learn at the end of this next issue. Do they follow Thorn and see what he saw, but they get
maybe.
away?
Yeah, maybe. Did they see a glimpse of something important? I feel like this is the issue to put something like that in, just a glimpse of something, maybe. I don't know, but that's where we're leaving off. So, 2 weeks time, finale of the button. Looking forward to it.